thank you for everyone joining us today. The training session on 3 easy hacks for closing PPC leads like a pro. So my name is Philip Pasma. I'm the owner of Asterisk Marketing, as well as I run a community called the DIY Agent. And I'm thrilled to have with me Courtney Atkinson, who is one of our clients at Asterisk Marketing, and he's going to be leading us today in this training. He's the CEO of the Atkinson Team and Real Estate Growth Solutions. He's got an exceptional track record in the Canadian market. He's from Calgary originally. Is that born and raised from Calgary?
No, true story. I'm from New Brunswick originally.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
So
live
you
in
made your
Lethbridge.
way.
Yeah,
Made
I
your
live
way
in
out
Lethbridge.
west.
I did, yeah, and then we offer services to clients Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, and Calgary. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so he's got a team consisting over 50 agents across 3 markets who've done amazing results. I think over $1 billion in sales volume, 3,000 properties sold, and I think 600 last year alone.
Yeah, 605 to be exact. Yeah, it was a good year for us. Everybody's struggling this year. I don't know if we're going to hit those numbers this year. We were aiming for about 800 this year, but I'm not sure if we're going to get there, Phil, unless we have a really, really killer last half of the year. We'll see how it goes.
It is a tougher market, but we're glad we have you to share some insights and how to reach those goals. So I'm just going to let you take over and share your expertise. And just thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, dude, it's my privilege to be here. Thanks so much, Phil. I have great respect for you and the company that you've built and the services that you provide. And indeed, you've been incredible for our team. So thanks for all that you do. And it's great to be here with so many folks who want to learn. It's a privilege for me to be able to show up and spend time with people who are curious and invested in learning more ways to do more business. And the truth is, very few agents believe that they have a predictable way to determine their future in real estate. All too often, we hear from coaching clients and industry members that this business is something that happens to them. Markets dictate what will happen to them. And I know that I just commented this very thing, but the truth is, when you have a team that's got 50 agents on it, to some degree, yes, you are at the whimsy of the market, unquestionably. But as a solo agent or as somebody who's part of a smaller team, the truth is that you have a surprising amount of control, more control than you probably think. And at times like this, where the markets are a little bit more challenging, where interest rates are a little bit higher, where the inventory is a little bit tighter, I want to share with you some strategies that you can use to take control in a market and indeed to gain market share. Okay. Now, for those of you that aren't thinking about this strictly in business terms, I'm just talking about doing more deals than you did last year. Okay. That's your market share. There's a couple of things that are happening right now. Okay. For the first time in many, many years, there are fewer realtors getting licensed now than there were before. We're going to start to see fewer realtors in our marketplace competing against us now than there have been in past years. That's good news for you, okay? The other thing that you're going to find is that the realtors who are in the marketplace don't quite know what to do. And here you are, my friends, with us today, learning exactly how you can have control. And the truth is that's just not a common thing in our business. Most realtors are sitting back, wondering what to do, feeling concerned, but not taking decisive action as to how to address that. And here you are. So between people leaving the marketplace, right? Between you getting your education, being mindful of the fact that you do have control, you're going to be in a position to gain that market share, to do more transactions than other people in your marketplace. The reason why this is so important, why you being here today is so impactful, is to do with your future, okay? It's not just about the deals that we're going to help you do in the very near term, in the next month, the next 2 months, in the next 3 months. This is setting you up for patterns of success that when the market shifts, interest rates come down, and now there's still fewer realtors in the market than there were before. And don't forget, the demographics favor many retirements from our industry over the next few years. And don't think that difficult markets aren't exactly when realtors that are a little bit older don't retire, because they do. And I'm just guessing that the average age on this call is going to be way less than 56, which is the average age of realtors. Okay. Now you've got prime time to be able to not only gain immediate market share, but to put yourself in a position to be able to take over that market that's left over for you. Those people that are out there driving Ubers, delivering pizzas and doing this work and selling the 2 or 3 houses per year, Yeah, they're going to be letting their licenses go. And those big producers that have been selling 20, 30, 50 houses a year, but are tired of it. The technology is getting too complex. They don't want to know about ChatGPT. They don't want to know about how to dial into a CRM even more effective. They're letting their licenses go. They've made their money. They're leaving deals on the table for you, my friends. And this creates one of the greatest opportunities that we've ever had. The demographics and the timing are all lining up to make not only this year, the remaining bits of 2023, there's still 2/3, 3/4 of the year left, right? Can still be one of the best years in your business. Setting you up for 2024, which by all accounts is going to be an incredible year in real estate. So let's get into it. I want to talk to you about what we've done to be successful in this space. First of all, I think it's important that I dive a little bit more deeply on what Phil's mentioned about me and my team. The truth is that we're a prospecting-based team, okay? Nothing happens without somebody picking up the phone, and our team makes thousands of phone calls every single week. I can't stress for you enough that this is a contact sport. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there selling you shiny objects that are going to make this business easy. Now, I will tell you, I've worked in the woods of New Brunswick cutting trees down. I've worked on paving crews. I've worked on blasting crews. I've worked for asshole bosses. I've done all kinds of terrible work over the years. And one of the easiest things to do is pick up a phone and use my voice. I'm not outside in the rain. I'm not getting stung by wasps. I'm not getting sunburns. It's easy work. But you know why most people fear making phone calls? It's their psychology. It's this little thing inside your brain called your amygdala that's meant to protect you from catastrophic challenges in your life. It's hung over from our dinosaur days where we were escaping with our lives, running away from predators and trying to chase down prey so that we could live. It's the part of your brain that gets you excited and in adrenaline when there's some major concern in your life. Now, here's the challenge. We haven't evolved out of that one characteristic. So when I post on my social media and I don't get my typical number of likes, then what happens? Well, my heart gets broken and I get really scared and start to think that people don't love me and I'm irrelevant. That's the same kind of feeling that amygdala used to serve me with by helping me keep alive. But you know what? My having a reaction to anything on social media is not doing me any favors, okay? It's not keeping me alive in the same way that those emotions did at one time before. The way that when somebody says something mean to you or when you hear something that hurts your feelings and gets your blood pressure up and you can see your face is red or you can feel that tension deep inside your chest. Yeah, those are feelings that were meant to keep you alive hundreds of thousands of years ago. Now they're just slowly killing you. And generally speaking, they're reactions to things that really don't matter. Resistance to calling people on the phone is one of those things. We fear rejection, and we fear rejection like it's life-threatening. So I'm not trying to say that it's not significant, that the anxiety, the worry, the fear that some people have around making those dials isn't real. It is. It's meant to keep us alive. And what you need to know is that you have to rise above that. It's just a piece of your psychology. It's hardwired into you. You can't beat it, but you can understand it. And when you understand it, you can affect a better outcome for yourself, your family, and your future. So simply recognize that when those emotions well up inside you, they don't serve you. They're left over from a past version of our species that's meant to keep you alive. And stopping yourself from making this phone call is stopping you from being successful. It's not keeping you alive. See, that might have been a risky behavior, right? At some point in time, you know, those feelings might have come from some risky behavior, but I can promise you that making a phone call is not a risky behavior. Fun fact, I can share with you my mega open house strategy on one of my training calls sometime if you would like. During this mega open house strategy, I have made literally thousands, and I'm talking thousands, personal, one-on-one, cold prospecting phone calls. Do you know how many times I've been hung up on? 0 times. Now, why would that be? How can a person make cold calls? I'm not talking about CRM leads like Phil's providing us with. Thank you, Phil, for not having to make us make cold phone calls. Those are warm leads. I'm talking straight up cold phone calls using a CRM dialer to dial through home phone numbers where nobody has asked me to call them, where there's been no relation whatsoever to real estate. So how is that possible? Well, I can tell you that it's possible with psychology. It's possible by understanding that I'm calling these people at an inconvenient time. And there's a really good chance that when these people pick up their phone, there's going to be resistance to speaking to whoever is on the other end. And I take no personal responsibility whatsoever for how that person responds to me. Why? Because it's not my business. I recognize that they're just a human being like me. They've got some things going on in their life just like me. I heard somebody say to me one time, Courtney, there's only 3 things that you're going to care about. And as important as they are to you, nobody else is going to give a shit. It's your baby, it's your marriage, and it's your divorce. And so having been through all of those things, I can tell you that I was really invested in my divorce. I was really invested in my marriage, and I was really invested in my babies. And do you know who else cared? My immediate family, my closest friends, but for the most part, nobody really gives a shit. And it's the same for people in this universe that we live in, okay? It's the same for people that we cold call. They've got their own business, they've got their own life, they've got their own trauma, they've got their own challenges, okay? I'm not all of a sudden going to show up in this phone call and expect them to treat me like I'm the most important person on the planet. I'm not. In fact, I expect them to not want to talk to me. I expect them to reject this phone call. And so how is it conceivable that I could call this person up who's not expecting my phone call, who's in the middle of dinner, because I always call between 5:30 and 7:30, by the way. So they're either getting dinner ready, getting dishes put away, packaging it up and putting it in the fridge, getting kids ready for bed, putting kids in bed, or getting themselves to bed, or watching TV. Like there's never something going on where they're like, oh boy, I hope my phone call rings with a realtor on the other end right now. It's never that, ever, right? So how is it possible? Well, I know where they're at. I know what to expect, and I know how to break through. I've already addressed my psychology. There's nothing about their situation that says anything about Courtney Atkinson whatsoever. They can't say or do anything to me that has anything to do with me. They can say whatever they want, they can do whatever they want, but it has everything to do with them. And I just happen to be a person on the phone, all right? So when I recognize that bit of psychology, by the way, that's tip 1, psychology. When I recognize that bit of psychology, it makes it much easier for me to be enthusiastic about making these phone calls. In fact, I can start to think about it like a little bit of a game. I can start to find true joy in making these phone calls. I'll give you an example. The phone call that I made right before I came on here was with someone who a number of agents have talked to in the team, a warm lead in our CRM, okay? Actually, one that we can thank Phil for because I know which market it was in. So thanks, Phil. Her name was Mary, okay? Now, Mary's spoken to a couple of different agents on the team over the last, 7 or 8 months, and nobody's really made any traction with her. And I talked to Mary today, and she says, yeah, we've changed our mind. So I said to Mary, help me understand that, Mary. What's changed? And the phone kind of cut out a little bit, and I didn't really hear it. And I was really worried that she said that her husband was sick or dying or something. And I thought, man, I can either walk away from this or dive in. It wouldn't be a very good coach if I walked away. So I dove in. I said, Mary, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that your phone cut out. Would you mind sharing that with me again? Very cautiously. She said, oh, yeah, I talked to my husband and we've changed our mind. I said, oh, help me understand that. Well, he just thinks it's not the right time. Oh, tell me more about that, Mary. These are my questions. Well, I'm thinking that I'd like to move and he's thinking that he would like to stay. Okay, fair enough. And so does it relate to market conditions, Mary? Like I already know what it relates to, right? Interest rates and, all the things. There's a lot of fear out there, right? And for any of the realtors on this phone call, I know that you've had challenges getting people off the fence into action, all right? Yeah, it is. So Mary, one of the things that my clients really appreciate hearing at times like this is that I'm happy to give you a free obligation, no obligation evaluation on your property. In fact, if I just have a few details on your property, I could email that to you probably by tomorrow. And that would give you some more information that maybe you haven't had access to. Have you had an evaluation on your property yet, Mary? No, I haven't. Do you think there'd be value in you getting that if I didn't have to trouble you by coming over to your house, Mary? Yeah. Do you know what there would be? So I go ahead and I ask her 1,000 questions, great stuff, the bad stuff, when you bought it, improvements, challenges. And I said, okay, Mary, sounds good. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this evaluation off to you tomorrow. And I'm going to circle back with you next week just to see what your thoughts are on that. Does that sound okay with you, Mary? Yeah, for sure it does. So here's the thing. I already know what the challenge is, and I'm moving this person down the road by giving them some free value. And I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but I want to share with you the reason why I was able to do that. It's because I brought no expectation with me to that phone call. I brought no expectation as to whether or not I would set an appointment, whether I would get hung up on, whether I would make $1 million, make a friend, or make an enemy. See, all under this first line, this first hack, if you will, around psychology, is that we need to be able to detach from outcomes in order to be effective in this work, okay? Agents are terrible at detaching from outcomes. Why? Well, because they haven't done the hard work to master this amygdala, to recognize that this pain is not logical, to recognize that there's no bad things that can come from making a phone call. And so they stay all up in their head when they're making their calls. And what happens when you're all up in your head? Well, you start to sound like a salesperson. You start to sound like a person who's trying to affect an outcome. You start to sound like a person who's got an agenda, who's simply trying to find out, yes or no, are you going to buy or sell real estate with me? And I would ask you, my friend, is that the kind of person that people want to work with? Well, you already know the answer, all right? And this is why it's so important that we understand psychology before we think about picking up the phone. It's critical that we know thyself, and it's critical that we know thy consumer before we engage them, and just recognize they're just a human doing their thing, and it's an inconvenient time for me to call. So my question is this: how do I get 3 to 5 questions deep with this person where rapport is built before I get hung up on? Okay. Like I said, I got a really good track record with that. On the cold call side, I've never been hung up on. Now I'll share with you the script just for fun to give you an idea of how this works. The final part of this, by the way, is consistency in your CRM. And you'll soon find out why consistency pays dividends, okay? I've used this script literally thousands of times. Ring, ring. Phil, why don't you role play with me? Ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, hi, is this Phil?
It is.
Oh, hey, Phil, it's Courtney calling from the Atkinson team over at eXp Realty. Hey, Phil, I wanted to say thanks. I could see that you were checking out some properties on my website, Phil. I wanted to say thanks for that. Hey, Phil, tell me, when are you thinking about making a move?
I was just looking.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, I want to say thanks for that. You know what? A lot of folks just use our website for checking out properties, maybe for their friends, maybe for them families, maybe just because they're curious. So tell me, Phil, when are you thinking about making a move?
Maybe in a year or so. We're just really seeing what's out there, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Tell me what's important about a year to you, Phil.
Just some things we have to do at home and some finances we have to figure out.
Cool. So and we're going to break out. You get the point that Phil's a little cagey right now. He doesn't want to talk to me too much about these details, but we're getting like 3 to 4 questions deep right now, aren't we? Here's what's going to happen with somebody that's a little cagey. Maybe it takes me 5 or 6 questions, but after Phil realizes that I'm a trustworthy person that's good at asking questions and is clearly taking him on a clear journey of self-discovery, Phil's going to open up to me. And he's going to tell me, yeah, do you know what? It's just that I haven't saved enough money, or do you know what this, or do you know what that? And he's going to be truthful with me. Here's the challenge. Most agents aren't good at coming from curiosity. Most agents are agenda driven, and it puts people off, and it keeps them in this superficial space where they won't be honest with you about what their challenges are. Let me ask you this question for anybody on this phone call. Has there ever been a time in your life where somebody's asked you a hard question and you've given them an answer that would shut them up but wasn't fully truthful because there was something private going on for you that you just didn't feel like sharing, right? Of course, it's probably happened in the last 3 days, okay? If it was If you were with your family this past weekend, it was probably this weekend. All right. That's human nature. All right. It's human nature for us not to give away that information right at the beginning. But it's also human nature to begin to trust people that show interest in us. And you know how the most important, the most relevant, the most valuable way that you can be interesting to people, whether you're at a party, whether you're with clients, whether you're on the dating scene, uniformly one way: ask great questions. Now, here's what you'll find. And I found this throughout my life. I'm incredible at asking incredible questions. And so people will leave conversations with me and they'll give me feedback later on, or I'll hear it from somebody else. They thought I was super engaging. I'm really, really interesting. I find that really funny. Do you know why? Because I spent the whole time asking questions. They spent the whole time talking about themselves, and they don't know much about me at all. Now, isn't it funny that you can be interesting and engaging to someone when they don't know you at all? See, that's the same thing that we're doing with our clients, and all you need to do is come from curiosity. Once you've addressed this psychology, right? And once you've got your energy on point, once you've got your consistency in your CRM, coming from curiosity is a natural outcome. See, I'm feeling good. This amygdala doesn't have me fired up. I'm not worried about that. I can now be in my heart instead of my head. I've already got this great habit of being in my CRM daily. Well, it's natural that I'm going to show up and ask great questions because I truly am curious, because it's not about me anymore. It's not about these selfish, concerned feelings of not enoughness and what if this, and if so-and-so hangs up on me, and if I don't get an appointment, it's wasted. None of that's true. That's just your amygdala trying to protect you from an enemy that doesn't exist. So rise above that psychology, find your energy, settle into your heart with your consistency in your CRM, come from curiosity, and show people that you deserve to get the truth. The truth is where the deals are at. And it's not by accident that I wear this shirt every single day, not the exact shirt, just a version of it, okay? But I wear this shirt because I know that I've got kind of like one of those resting faces that doesn't look super friendly, okay? I want to hold space for people to help them understand that, hey, listen, it's okay to get there with me. It's okay to be honest. I'm going to ask you hard questions, and it's okay to give me the truth. Now, I get that on the phone, but I also get it a lot more in person. I certainly get it with my team. We have great retention. We have great culture. We make thousands of dollars a week, and everybody on the team makes a lot of money. Okay. Why? Consistency, heart, investing in the CRM, coming from curiosity, bringing that big energy. Little pro tip, by the way, little asterisk, if you will. Please, for the love of all things good, stand up and smile while you dial. Your outcomes are going to be so much better. Did you hear me when I was talking to Phil? Did you hear me giggle? Yeah, you did. Did you hear me say his name 3, possibly 4 times? Yes, you did. Did you hear me express gratitude? I know you did. Now ask yourself, what's important about those things? Well, when I giggle, it's a little bit self-deprecating. Are people more or less likely to hang up on somebody who's a little self-deprecating, doesn't take themselves too seriously, and chuckles a little? They're way lower on the hang-up scale. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, it's been 0. Do you think that they're more likely to open up to someone like that? Well, the answer is yes. Well, what's every single person on this planet's favorite word? Their name. Yeah, I'm using it lots, right? What about that gratitude piece? Thank you, Phil, for checking out my website. Yeah, for sure. Gratitude feels good, doesn't it? When I'm being appreciated by someone else, yeah, it makes me feel loved and cared for. So now Phil's feeling loved and cared for by me, right? The next question is the most important one. So tell me, Phil, when are you thinking about making a move? All right. 2 important pieces there. I'll break it down for you. Did I say, would you mind sharing with me, Phil, when you're thinking about making a move? Would you mind sharing with me, Phil, if you're thinking about moving? No, very specifically. Tell me, Phil, when are you thinking about making a move? I'm establishing authority. All right. It's very important that we do that. Now, not in some overt high level, aggressive kind of way. And trust me, I can be that way too. But I'm coming with authority. Why am I bringing authority? Well, because I've already established that I'm a nice person. I'm already establishing that I care for him. I'm giving permission to being on my website, right? But I'm also saying that I don't mind taking the authoritative position. So I will say, tell me, Phil, when are you thinking about making a move? And when is important? Because I know that if I use time, it puts a person on a different part of their brain. Now, listen, if I was a psychologist, I could break that down for you, but I know it's true. Psychologically, time is in a different part of our brain than objections. Anybody here love objections? No, I want as few as possible. One of the best ways to avoid objections is to get past the next question. The next question is, are you thinking about making a move? If you're thinking about making a move, what's got you thinking about making a move? All those questions suck. Stop them. When are you thinking about making a move? It's a different part of the brain. The objections dissipate dramatically. The assumption is that they're already moving. And what's the most common objection? Thank you, Phil, for sharing that one with me. Oh, I'm just looking. So remember, there's the agents that spend all their time in their mind asking all their selfish questions, right? Agenda-driven. And there's the clients that give them those same types of objections. The more space I spend here, the more space they spend there. Now, I spent the entire first part of my conversation in my heart, but Phil was still in his head a little bit. Took him like 3-4 questions to start to soften a little bit, maybe 5 to 6 to get him, most of the way there as best as it could have been in the phone call. My point being that most people will object and say that they're just looking. So what's the natural thing to do then? Give permission to it. Listen, anybody here ever go to a Lamborghini website and look for Lamborghinis? I have. Is that okay? Sure it is. Does it mean I'm buying right now? No. Am I gonna? Yep, 100%. When? No, hopefully in the next 2 years. Okay, cool. Salesperson calls me, what am I saying? Oh, just looking. Okay, cool. Most people that come to our website are thinking about buying a Lamborghini at some point, so tell me, what's your time horizon look like? 2 years. What's important about 2 years? And I would say, right? But I would also give that initial answer just like everybody else does. So don't be surprised by these objections. Expect them. Be prepared to handle them, okay? Most important thing that you need to understand, this is number 2, okay? While you're making your dials. So you've addressed your psychology, okay? You're spending your time in your heart. You're expecting to catch people at a bad time. You're coming from curiosity. Just psychologically, this is the space that I now occupy. Don't forget, pro tip, asterisk, I'm standing and I'm smiling. Okay, super important. I'm standing right now. Why? I want to bring mad value. Could I do this in this chair over here? Yeah, I could have sat at a desk. For sure, I could have sat like this and given this talk today. Would that have been more or less engaging? Can you hear a difference in my voice? Do I sound a little bit less enthusiastic? Yeah. Of course you can. If you had your cameras turned off and you couldn't see me, you would know that something changed, right? Here's the truth. We all want to be fired up. Ask yourself this next question before we move on to number 2. Do I or do I not want to make an impression on this phone call? I do. Okay. So then ask yourself this next question. Why is it that radio announcers tend to be a little bit more caricaturistic with their voices than people on TV? Well, the natural answer is because you only have the use of one sense, your ear. Now, on TV, you get to physically see the person speaking and you get to use your ears. So they don't need to make as much of an impact. They're not overacting as much as people do on radio ads. So when I'm on the telephone with somebody, do I sound a little bit overly enthusiastic? Yes, I do. Until I get into rapport and can match their energy 100%, I do. Why? Because I want them to stay on the phone with me and be interested in who I am and what value I'm bringing. Okay. How do I do that? Point 2. Real simple. Ask great questions. I'm going to share something with you that I share with my team every single week. Okay. Without exception, we read this every Wednesday. In fact, let me read the whole thing, not just the portion that I was going to pull from memory here, but I'll read you the whole thing. I think it's important. So every day, every Wednesday at the end of our team meeting, I'm going to share something with you that I read. I run those meetings. The other ones throughout the week are run by other folks. It goes like this. As members of this team, we are proud community builders. We choose courage over comfort, and we choose to be open-hearted. We choose to be brave and afraid at the same time because we know that being vulnerable and shedding our own armor helps us be our absolute best for ourselves and for those we serve. In the service of our clients, we recognize that creating positive emotions for the clients we serve creates motion in their process of buying and selling. Our personal happiness and positive energy creates progress in their journey of buying and selling. We put our clients in the driver's seat so they're empowered and so they trust us. We're creating a journey of self-discovery for our clients by asking them high-quality, open-ended questions that'll lead them to their desired end. What is your big goal for this week? Who needs you to be at your best? And where can this team be of service to you during that journey? Most critical part in what I was going to share with you a moment ago was that journey of self-discovery. We take our clients on a journey of self-discovery by asking them high-quality, open-ended questions that helps them to their desired end. Okay? And here's what I mean by that. How often have you been doing a buyer's needs assessment and asked the person how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, bungalow, 2-story, square footage, neighborhood? If I could see hands, I'd see a lot. Just 1 second, I'm going to get another water real quick. All right. Why is that so important? Well, it's so important to note what others are doing so that we can be different, okay? Most agents are checking boxes. I see I froze on you here. 1 sec. There we go. Most agents are checking boxes. Now they're sitting down in front of their computer. They're asking their client questions because they just want to check boxes. So I want you to think about the experience that creates for the family that you're sitting in front of. Did they feel unique in any way? No. Do they feel understood? No. Do they feel like you care about how they live and how they're going to feel in their next home? No. You're clearly just checking boxes, okay? So I want you to resist the urge to be a box checker, a door opener, and a contract writer, okay? This work has the potential to be so much more without requiring you to change a thing except the language that you use. So imagine for a moment that I recognize that selling a home is kind of a logical process and buying a home is kind of an emotional process, all right? So why wouldn't I ask questions like, so tell me, what kind of neighborhood do you see yourself living in? Tell me about your lifestyle. How do you folks like to live? What are some things that you like to do? Give me a sense of how the property should be laid out in order for you to feel most at home. What are some other things that are important to you? One of my favorite questions. Tell me about your childhood home. Was that a happy place? What did it look like? How did it feel? And then conversely, would you mind sharing with me some things that are hard-nosed that maybe feel like they definitely might not be part of your future as it relates to real estate? So foundationally here, I'm going to give you the elements of these questions. One, I'm clearly coming from curiosity. They can tell that I'm deeply interested in how they live and what's important to them as human beings, okay? We all want to be understood, my friends, every single one of us, okay? You being deeply curious is one of the greatest things that you can do to build strong relationships with your clients, to make them feel special, seen, and heard. And most importantly, to want them to want that, to get them to want that for their friends, their family, and their coworkers. so that you'll just naturally be referred by them. How do you do that? Well, you can fake it. That's good news. Okay. So if you're not the kind of person that really cares about other people, it's okay. You can fake it with good questions. All right, here they are. Who, what, when, how, where. You noticed absent is why. Don't ask why. Why wouldn't I ask why, Courtney? I have so many questions. Yeah, I know. Trust me. I want to ask why a lot. Why would you be so crazy? Why this? That doesn't make any sense, right? That is how people feel when you ask them why. Okay. So I'm going to give you two phrases that can preface who, what, when, where, and how that are really going to help you open up deeper conversations with your clients. Write these down. Tell me more about. Help me understand. Tell me more about. Help me understand. Hey, Phil, tell me more about what's important about next year. Hey, Phil, help me understand what's important about next year. Hey, Phil, you mentioned that you have some concerns around the financial piece of this model, so help me understand that. Hey, Phil, would you mind sharing with me some more details about what's going on with respect to this? Phil, I'd love to know more about who's involved in this transaction. Could you share those details with me? Right. So I'm always going to pre-frame who, what, when, where, how. I shouldn't say always, often by tell me more about or help me understand. So let me ask you this question. When I say help me understand, what does that say to you? It says I care about you. It says I'm deeply curious about you. It says I'm interested in you. And if this is indeed an emotional journey for you, do you feel more likely to want to share with me the truth or these kind of like high level objection, low detail, other realtor type answers? Yeah, those are the questions that my competitors are asking. And that's why we have 10, 12% market share in our market, because we ask better questions. Yeah, we have great marketing for sure. We have a lot of things going for us, but you know what the key difference is? It's how we make people feel. We deliver predictable outcomes thanks to our marketing, thanks to Phil, but it's how we connect with people. And we connect with people by asking them great questions, coming from curiosity, coming from heart, being deeply curious. Tell me more about that. Help me understand who, what, when, where, how, never why. Just get rid of that word from your entire vocabulary. Super important. When you can do those things, when you can come from curiosity, when you can make people feel that you're deeply connected to the service related to their journey of self-discovery, they will never want to work with another realtor again. You will have created a magnificent journey of self-discovery that they will never forget. And they'll want that there with their friends, their family, and their coworkers. They'll be super fans of yours. They can't help but tell more people about how you made them feel. Because my friends, I want to share with you something. The art of selling real estate is not that hard. Selling a house is not that hard. Put somebody in front of me that wants to buy a house. I need to log into an MLS. I need to be able to use an app on my phone. I don't even really need to be able to drive a car. They could drive me there. And I have to be able to fill out some paperwork. And the paperwork's not that complex because the fields are clearly blank and labeled. Like, that's just not that hard, okay? Do you know what's hard? Building lasting relationships with people when they don't know you. And that's why we're here today, okay? How is it that I'm going to call somebody who simply form-filled information related to real estate, a warm lead, okay? They're not necessarily expecting a phone call, though, are they? Well, I have to expect that. I have to expect the fact that I'm going to have to get 3 to 5 questions deep before they're going to want to open up for me. Asterisk on point 2, and it relates to point 3. You have to remember modality, okay? Now, listen, I know that you've heard the term speed to lead a gazillion times. Every coach loves to talk about it. Every team leader wants to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing, modality matters. Here's what modality is if you've never heard of it. Right now, I'm in the mode of spending time with you, delivering mad value, okay? But at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be in the mode of being a dad who's not distracted by his coaching business. Okay. 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to be in the mode of trying to get myself out of my bed into the bathroom with my first liter of green juice in my face so that I can start getting my brain working properly. Then by the time that 5:30 rolls around, I'll be in the mode of doing my cardio. Now ask yourself, at 4 o'clock in the morning, do I feel like talking about real estate with somebody? No. While I'm on the cardio machine, do I want to do a coaching phone call? No. At 9 o'clock every day, I'm in the mode of being on a meeting with my team. Am I thinking about my next vacuum cleaner? No. These are my modes. We all have modes. They're driven by our schedules. And you have to remember, my friend, that we're in a everything happens now phase of history. I literally have the entire universe in my phone. Just for fun, I checked this out last week. I have like a 10-year-old iPad. Did you know that a 10-year-old iPad has 1,000,000 times more power than the Apollo 11 spacecraft did that first landed on the moon? That's a true story. I just learned that last week. Isn't that crazy? Well, this technology is dramatically improved over a 10-year-old iPad. I think we can agree. And so with the advancement of technology, with the advancement of social media, we're getting things now. When's the last time you ordered something from Amazon? Certainly in the last week. And when does it come? 24 to 48 hours. It's insane. Now, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, that wasn't happening, right? We talked about it, but we had no expectation that it would happen this fast, and yet it did. Now, the situation is that we've got one of these tools on us. Every person on the planet is tethered to it, and every job requires you to use it. There is no 9 to 5 anymore. Everybody is on this all the time. So when they have 5 minutes, do you know what they're doing? Looking for their next house. And then they're going to slide into the next mode, which could be their job, could be their kids, could be anything, grocery store, who knows what. So you got a very limited window of time to call. 5 minutes is ideal. Lots of studies around that. 10 minutes is okay. Way much more beyond that, doesn't really matter. Call them back the next day. But 5 to 10 minutes, your odds of closing that person to an appointment are dramatically higher than if you wait to the next day, okay? But if you don't have the habit of being in your CRM, are you going to call them back the next day? Probably not. So I can't stress enough that it's not good enough just to have kindness in your heart, to be able to get out of your head and into your heart, to have these great habits and ask great questions, come from curiosity. But you got to be in your CRM every day. Habits matter, friends. Habits matter, okay? Speed to lead matters. You know what else matters? Follow up. Because if you don't get them the first time, you might not get them the second time. And do you know what we do on our team? 10 times in 14 days. And if you don't, we just take you out of leads till you catch up, typically a week, okay? So you're going to get, on average, 2, 3, 4 leads a day some days. You're going to stay on leads so long as you're making 10 dials in 14 days consistently in your CRM to every single one of those leads that comes in. Why? Modality. Because not everybody has these 5-minute windows of time stacked on top of each other. If I didn't get you in the first 5-minute window, I got to try to find you in the next one. If I didn't get you there, I'm going to try to get you here or there or there. That really matters. Finally, I want to share with you something around process that's going to dramatically improve your business as well. We'll give this about 5 minutes and then we can open it up to some questions. So if you got some questions, I'd like to hear them. All too often, I see agents who don't have a system or a process in place to do things consistently, and it shows, right? Now, I'll ask you a question. Does it seem like I've talked about this before? Does it seem like I've coached on this topic before? Now, I know the answer. I have. Thousands of hours I've spent talking about things just like this. Yet so many agents, no matter how many properties that they sell, it's like every time it's like find your own adventure. No, I'll find the property, I'll find the client. This one, I think I'll treat them like this. That one, I'll treat them like that. You know what? It'll be what it'll be because I'm really artistic and I just like the freedom. Well, do you know what? It shows. It shows in the lack of predictable income that you have in your business because you don't have a consistent process that you work each and every person through. And here's the thing. You know why the military is such a great place for so many people? Because it's predictable. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that you be in the military. I was never in the military. Okay, I know I look like it, but I wasn't. But here's the point. Things in the military are predictable. You know what else is predictable? Church. Just saying. People like church because they know what to expect. The pastor goes through the same routine every Sunday. The words are different, but the patterns are the same. So ask yourself this: when you go to the grocery store once a week, do they switch up the groceries, or are they in the same place? And when they switch the location because they do some sort of improvement, does that not throw you and irritate you? You're like, where's the milk? The milk was always here. It drives you freaking crazy. You're irritated for 2 weeks straight as you go to the wrong part of the store and you ask yourself, why did they change this? So think about this. When was the last time most clients worked with a realtor who had a very clear and consistent process that they did not deviate from no matter what? And the answer, my friend, sadly, is hardly ever. And so if I can give you a pro tip that will dramatically change your business, it's to map out exactly what you can do at every single juncture for every single buyer and every single seller, each and every time. Build checklists around that, scripts that you use at each time, and just replicate that. And I don't care if it's your mother, your sister, your best friend, or a complete stranger, everyone goes through that system. And you know what my personal experience has been? It's more important to use these processes for the people closest to you. Do you know why? Well, the people that are closest to me know the most about me. They maybe have seen me not at my best. They maybe have seen me at not my most professional. So is it better for me to show up more chill or more professional? Because guess what? No discounts for my family, my friend. You think I'm going to give my friend a discount off my 7 and 4.95 commission? 0% chance. Why? Because they're the ones that are going to call me and completely disrespect my family time, expect me to pick up, want to come over to my house and talk about real estate on a Saturday instead of just letting me enjoy my family time. They'll pretend like they're going to come over for hangouts and then they'll make me work, or they'll invite me over to their place for dinner and then I'll sit down with them and they'll grill me about real estate for 2 hours straight. And I'm like, I guess we can't just be friends. And I'm like, no, I get it. I'm a professional. I'm glad that you hired me, but there's a cost to that. And you pay the same as everybody else. Why? Because there's a process and I take everybody through it consistently. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's easy for me. I know what to do. I know what to say. I know when to say it. I don't have to think about it. Most importantly, I can show up reasonably unprepared, spend less time in my conscious mind and more time in my heart, because this process is so deeply embedded in my subconscious. I don't need to think about it. And when I'm not thinking about my process, I can spend more time connecting. And like we said before, that's where the magic happens. That's where your repeat business comes from. That's where your closings come easier. You have higher levels of trust. Your advice is taken more seriously. When you make a suggestion about what offer to make in a competing offer situation, all of a sudden, they listen to you now. Why? Because you have trust. You established it very early on. You took them on a journey of self-discovery using what? Using your process. Now, listen, they're going to feel like they're part of that, right? But you know what that's going to do for them? It's going to make them feel safe. It's going to make them feel cared for. It's going to make them feel like they're in a professional work environment. And that is something, my friends, that most real estate agents don't do a very good job at. So with this process, with these great questions coming from curiosity, bringing your heart to the game, leaving your amygdala and your mind at home, recognizing that you're going to get these objections, recognizing that you're not going to get people at a very good time. But by the time that I come from curiosity, 3 to 5 questions deep, I'm self-deprecating, I'm having a laugh, we're building a relationship. And I'm the kind of person that you can trust, because you are going to be on this journey of self-discovery with me in a clearly proven process. And over time, you'll get better at talking about that and illustrating that. And people will just feel that when they are around you. They will feel that safety and security. And you, my friends, will be closing more deals. Those are the 3 things. That's why it works. But I'd love to hear questions from you right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. So we got a couple coming in. Glee asks, what's your opinion of texting leads, call first, then text? Question.
Great question. I love the double tap first. So my preference is always going to be the double tap on a new lead. So for those of you that aren't aware, that simply means call once. If they don't pick up, call back immediately. Okay. It works really well. I don't know if any of you had this performed on you by somebody else, but generally speaking, it's an expression of urgency. And so if they've looked down and they don't recognize the number and they put their phone down, but you call back, they assume it's something important and they'll pick up. So I will always use the double tap first. Okay. If that doesn't work, no big deal. Don't leave a message on the first round. Okay. So first day, double tap, but don't leave a message. Okay. Second day, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call again the second day. If they don't pick up, leave a message the second day. Okay.
When you say leave a message, are you talking about a voicemail or a text?
Voice message. Yeah.
Okay.
Voice.
Would you still text the first day though?
No, I'm not going to text them at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I just double tap. So double tap, no text, next day, call and voicemail. Okay, so I would call the first one day 0. That's your lead day. Okay, double tap only. Okay, next day I'm going to call back, ideally at a different time if I have control. Okay. See, usually, like, depending on how your leads come in and how they're distributed for you folks, if you're catching them on a round robin, you'll be catching them live, like middle of the day or whatever. So you got a decent chance. If you call them back, if they don't get them, double tap them, that's okay. Probably going to be calling them back during your prospecting window the next day, the next morning, which ideally is going to be between 8 and 10 a.m. local. That's when your best chances of getting somebody on the phone in the morning are. Okay. So that should be your prospecting and following up window. If I don't get them then I'm going to leave a message. Next day, if I don't get them then, I'm going to call them, no message, but text them. And then I just alternate back and forth on business days. That's your 10 and 14. Double tap, no message. Call the next day, message. Call the next day, text. Until you get them, until you qualify them, until you find out what they need, or until they tell you to DNC, which is pretty rare if you use the strategies that I've shared today. Good question.
Another question about saying your energy, when your energy is on point, when you're making calls, do you have habits or practice you suggest to work on to kind of get?
Yes, I do. Oh, yeah, I do. Thanks for asking. That's a whole lesson plan on its own. Here's my belief. Your day's going to finish like your day starts. Okay. I do get up at 4. Here's what I do. I express gratitude. I write down affirmations. I do a meditation. I go through my near, medium, and long-term goal setting. I do a visualization practice. Okay. Then sometimes I'll do a stretch right then. A lot of times I'll do that after my cardio. But for those of you that haven't done a priming exercise before, I'm just going to tell you it's super effective. It's a little cheesy to talk about. Like, it's like one of these things that everybody's going to like, hey, I want to talk about my priming exercise. But I'm just telling you, if you don't know what priming is, just look it up. And it's a way to get your body fired up. Okay. So you should have a series of incantations. This is the way that you're going to rewire your subconscious, by the way, because your conscious is informed by your subconscious. All your limiting beliefs are in your subconscious. You want to fix those things, man. That's the part of your brain that's holding you back. And if you're not doing the active work on that, you're just settling. Okay. Every one of you has greatness inside you. If you're not working at consciously addressing your subconscious using the strategies that I've just described, finishing them off with a priming exercise where you're using your incantations, you're saying them out loud. You're not physically connecting these things to your subconscious, rewiring all those limiting self-beliefs, all these worries that you have about your not enoughness. It's going to go away. Does it happen immediately? No. Does it happen in time? Yes. Is it worth it? It's one of the most important things that you can do, and it shows up in your phone calls. Great question.
If they answer on a second call of a double tap, what reason do you use on that second call?
Exactly the same script, never changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would your script differ for a second home resort market where people are not relocating?
Yeah. Would be the same. When are you thinking about making a move? Oh, I'm not. Okay. Tell me more about that. Well, we're thinking about a vacation home. Oh, that's exciting. So what's driving you? Help me understand. Tell me more. When do you think it's happening? Same questions. Who, what, when, where, how? Tell me more about. Help me understand. Yeah. Don't overthink it. See, here's the thing. What do people want? To be understood. Who do they need? A realtor to help. So be the realtor that can help who wants to understand. And you do that by asking those questions.
Randy just had a follow up on that double dial thing. I guess he's trying to say, like, if you're calling people twice, maybe they get thrown off. They're like, "Hey, why are you calling me so much? Do you ever like, is this important?"
Yeah, it's important. Yeah. Yeah. Don't, guys, listen. I know why you're asking the questions, and I want to honor you for putting your hand up and asking the questions. But it's my duty to tell you, don't overthink it. Okay. Yeah. Don't overthink it. Just do it. See, when you've done that work, right? When you've done the work of ridding yourself of these fears around the amygdala, being hung up on the fact that it's not going to be a convenient time to call, that there's going to be objections, then these things don't matter. Honestly, they don't. I don't think about them. What's my specific objection handler for that? I don't have one. I don't need one. Why? Because I'm fully present in the moment, curious about this person and what's got them motivated, when they're going to be doing this, what's important about it, who's coming along for the ride, where are they going, what else is involved, help me understand, tell me more. The rest of it goes away. Promise.
How do you handle leads that ghost you?
Follow up. Now, there's lots of stats on leads, right? So I'm not going to quote them because Phil probably knows so much more. Thanks, pretty girl. About the stats on these. But here's my experience. Okay. There's a big percentage of leads that are just never going to amount to anything. Like, you could call them 1,000 times, nothing's going to happen. Okay. Then there's the leads that you get a hold of that are going to do something in the next 3 months. Okay. And that's where everybody seems to be super focused and really excited. You know where the money's at? The money is in the follow-up. The money's in the lead that's maturing. Give me those 3 months to 3 year leads, and I'm going to show you a big business, my friend. I can't tell you the number of times where I've gone into my CRM in one of these Tuesday dialing sessions like I just came out of, and have dialed into the CRM to somebody that we've had multiple conversations with. The last conversation was not interested. And I call them back and ask them slightly better questions, going a little bit deeper, kind of, getting below the surface response that they've given those other agents, and turn that into now business. I'm not kidding. Okay. How? Curiosity, questions, consistency, habits. Okay. The next thing that I want you to hear is the number of times that I've called people, done the same thing, and they've said things like, "Oh, I just moved into my new house. Oh, we sold last fall. Oh, we bought in the summer." And now they want to tell me all about it. And I'm like heartbroken because somebody on my team called, they did the hard work. They made the call, but what they didn't do? They didn't come sufficiently from curiosity. They didn't ask sufficiently interesting questions. And so we didn't get that opportunity. But there was a person who objected or gave one of these surface responses, and the agent believed that. And the truth is, they just didn't ask the better question to get at the truth. And that person did business with somebody else. Sad. You don't need another lead source, my friends. You've got enough leads. If you're getting much more than, say, 2 leads a day, 1 to 2 leads a day is all any agent needs to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. If you don't believe that to be true, you're not doing the work. You're either not saying the right things, you don't have the right habits, or you're not coming sufficiently from curiosity or giving people the impression that you care. If you fix those things, 1 to 2 leads a day is multiple 6 figures in income.
Vanessa asks, so her system is set up to text the customer 3 times when someone, I think, signs up. Do you think that should be disabled?
I would turn it off so long as you can manually keep up. So this is kind of a double-edged sword, okay? There are great automated systems out there. I don't want to crap on any of them, but I also don't want to pump the tires of any one of them too much either, okay? There's never going to be a replacement for human engagement, okay? Now, listen, I get that AI is getting incredible. If AI gets to the point where it can model a human's voice, insert sufficient caring, then yeah, maybe we got to be concerned, okay? But right now, the AI is still only okay. It's still just going to be decent. And a lot of people can spot it, okay? And so I would ask you, like, are you so busy that you can't spend 2 hours a day prospecting and following up? Like, are you doing so much business? Like, think about it this way. I always say to my team, listen, Tony Robbins, okay, he doesn't really seem like a guy that's in sales. But did you know that if you want to coach with Tony Robbins personally, it's $1 million a year? It's probably higher now. It was $1 million a year a couple of years ago. And he has a waiting list, okay? Well, not surprisingly, Tony Robbins is personally prospecting and following up with people daily for his one-on-one. And so if the number one paid sales coach on the planet charging $1 million a year to work with them is prospecting and following up, shouldn't I be, or should I just be giving that away to the robots? Like, that is one of the most important parts of your business. It's that voice-to-voice engagement. It's that connection and caring. It's that coming from curiosity. And so should I be giving that away and automating that? Or should I really be carving out other parts of my business so that I can focus on it? I'll give you an example. Well, Courtney, I'm too busy showing properties. Hey, get a showing partner, pay them 5%, maybe 10% of a deal, 15% if your market's really, really cheap. Spend 2 hours prospecting a day. You're going to make more money, I promise. But I'm so busy. Hire an assistant. Well, that's $50,000 a year. Yeah, exactly. Now spend 2 of those hours that you were giving away to admin work, dialing and prospecting and following up, and you're going to make $100,000 extra. Like, there's no job more important than prospecting and following up. Very rarely. Certainly not in our business. Good question.
This might be the last one here. How about if you were making, another one came in, but cold phone calls to people facing foreclosures?
Yeah. Oh, man. That's really, really difficult. The first thing I want to encourage you around whenever calling anyone is you're going to have a certain amount of information, either neighborhood, name, phone, whatever. If you're talking to someone who you are certain is facing foreclosure, you got to understand that it's not where they want to be. Most likely it's going to be an emotional place for them. A lot of times they're going to feel adversarial because they've been battling credit companies. They've been fighting and clawing, trying to prevent this from happening, but now they're in the 11th hour and it seems like it's all going down. So they're already feeling helpless. They're already feeling like they're under somebody's thumb, and they're already feeling victimized. And so no matter what you do as a real estate agent at a time like this, you're already set up to be in a position where they're going to look at you like a predator. Okay. And so ask yourself, how do I come to the aid of someone who's been victimized, views themselves in this way, and sees many people like me, lawyers, bankers, as predators? What do I have to do? Who do I need to be to deserve a seat at that table where I can support that person and help that person? And as such, what would my value proposition be? Okay. Now, I don't know the situation. I don't know your market. I could certainly help unpack that in a separate coaching phone call. But my guess is this: when you've got answers to those questions and you found what your unique selling proposition is, that's a solution to this person, and you can present it in a way that shows that you care, that shows that you're truly invested in supporting that person through whatever it is that they're through, and they get a handle on why it is that this is better for them than the other option, then you'll have a shot. But that's why great scripting matters, right? And you can't fake it. It does have to start with those fundamental pieces that we talked about in the beginning, but a great script is a requirement, okay? So without knowing the specifics, I can't get into it, but again, some other time I could help you. If you want to hop on some other coaching call, group call, I could.
No, it's really good. That'd be a tough one. Vanessa asked, I think I can answer this for you. Do you require people to log in with email before they can view properties on your site? I know pay-per-click you do. Organically, I think you do as well.
100%.
Yeah. It's very, very hard to get leads without having a forced lead capture.
Yeah. To me, that's a non-starter. Yeah. One property. I don't even think they get to look at one, to be honest.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Right away. Jerry just asked if I could make this into an MP3. Yeah, I could do that. It's all recorded, so I'm going to send it out. I'll send it out to everyone again so that they can rewatch it, take notes, all that great stuff. I know Courtney unpacked a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You put in your link tree. I know. Maybe just want to throw that in there again.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome.
You've got my name written in the bottom of my screen there, so you can just take a picture of that with your phone. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on TikTok. You'll find me on Instagram. That link tree's got an exhaustive list of places. If you're wanting to get there, it's just link tree, follow Courtney.
And does that link to the website as well for Growth Real Estate Solutions?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Everything's there, including booking an appointment. If somebody wants to schedule just a free, no obligation coaching consult, there's an opportunity to do that there as well.
Awesome. And I'll, for everyone, I'll send it out in an email. I'll send that link tree so that you can reach out to Courtney if you have any other questions or want to reach out to him. But yeah, I think we're good. I think no, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that wisdom.
Of course.
Yeah, it was a great turnout. Thank you everyone for joining. That was awesome.
Thanks for having me here, friends. Reach out if there's a way I can serve you. Again, Phil, thank you to you for what you do, for building this community, for bringing such mad value to me personally, to our entire 50 agent team. A lot of them don't know you personally like I can promise you that they're grateful for you too. Okay.
Well, the feeling is mutual. Thank you for for taking a chance on us and partnering with us.
Anytime I can support you, let me know. Friends, take good care. Have a great day. Go make a big impact. Okay. Much love. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.